Warning, the following is a horror movie discussion podcast. It will likely contain foul language and arguably mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to another episode of Neil Street Nightmare. This is your host Clint Andre, and Lee Kaiser is in the house.
Hello there.
And we've got some first-time special guests here. Colin Gabriel Price.
Hey, how you doing?
Along with his wife, Lissa.
Hi.
So you've never done a podcast before?
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, don't worry. You'll be fine. It's easy. We just talk about stuff. And, I've actually been wanting to get you two, well, actually, mostly Colin, because I do watch your YouTube channel.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Priceless B Movies on YouTube.
Yes, and this episode we're talking about Night of the Demons from, is it 1986?
88, I think.
88, okay. That would explain why I didn't see it in theaters. I was in the Army at the time. And I remember watching your Priceless B Movies, and what was the very first episode that you did?
The very first episode I did was a review of Night of the Demons.
Bingo! That's exactly why I wanted to get you in on this. Also, because we almost watched this movie on your birthday.
Yeah, no, we almost watched. We ended up playing the remake later on that night instead because we had all seen this movie, but...
except for Lee.
Yeah, except for Lee.
Except for me.
But, as decent, I think, as the remake is, as far as remakes go, you can never beat the original.
There are times. Well, let's see, I could question a few, but the thing...
Not very often. And
yeah, not often.
What is on your shirt you're wearing today?
Oh, I have no idea. I think it's like a Where's Waldo-oriented thing. No, it's artwork for Night of the Demons that we got at a convention recently that all four of us were at.
Yep.
Oh, I wonder where that might have been.
Indianapolis, Horror Hound. But yeah, I picked this also because this is actually coming out late October, so this is going to be my Halloween. It was suggested to me last year that I should do for a Halloween-themed movie, and I'm kind of avoiding the actual Halloweens because everybody does those, and I want to do a Halloween-themed movie that not everybody is talking about. And I think this would be a good choice. Actually, Curtis brought this up last year. You should do Night of the Demons. So I said, well, I'll do that next year. Well, here's next year, and we're doing it.
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, so the movie was written by... Damn it.
You know the answers to this stuff.
Written by Joe Augustine. Directed by Kevin Tinney. I think you said you pissed him off?
Yeah, I hope I didn't, but I got the feeling at one point when I met him that I pissed him off at one point.
Yeah, I saw you pointed out a bit of a continuity issue, but I guess this is like his first thing after he did Witchboard.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because they're two wildly different movies, both in tone and in subject matter. Both of them involve raising something through some kind of party game, whether it's a seance or an Ouija board in the other case, but yeah, they're fairly alike in context, but not at all in tone.
Oh, at all, yeah. They were saying towards the end of the special features when they're talking that they would say probably Witchboard is probably the better movie, but this is probably the more entertaining movie.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go that far. I like Witchboard a lot, but I think that there's just more to Night of the Demons. I don't think it's just that it's more entertaining. I think that there's just more inventiveness in it. Witchboard, for all the positives, because it's not a bad movie whatsoever, but it is much more of a straightforward haunting movie and possession movie, I think. So I think that they went a little more balls to the wall with this one.
Night of the Demons is a little underrated for what it is.
I agree.
I think the more that people watch it or the more that it gets out, the more that people enjoy it. I have to say, with the first time that I watched it, I wasn't a huge fan, but the more times I see it, the more into it I get, because the more I notice and the more, of the makeup you see.
Oh, yeah.
And the cool, tricks in it that you see. So.
Yep. Steve Johnson doing a good...
all the amazing makeup and prosthetic, all the practical effects in that film, and especially in the second half, are just incredible.
Yeah, it was really great.
Not to mention everybody's favorite part is the dance scene.
Oh, the dance scene! But I tell you, there's the dance scene, and then there's also the lipstick scene. You know, if we're going to talk about great prosthetics,
yes.
One thing that's great about Night of the Demons is that I remember when I first saw it thinking, okay, how in the hell did they do that?
Yes.
Fake boob.
I really thought that lipstick was going to come back into play at somewhere, like just
somebody was going to make out with her,
or
have his mouth down there, and
or
was going to
just
choke on it, or something.
I thought it was going to come back into play somehow.
But you could tell. You could tell that the nipples were a completely different color.
Yeah.
That it was fake. That it was a fake boob that she.
The way that I
into,
understand it, the original screenplay had it was much more gruesome, and it had her. Like vomiting this stuff on her chest that was going to melt away, and she was going to put the lipstick in. It was something along those lines. But then somewhere along the line, someone said, well, what's creepier than that? And they went with what ended up in the movie.
And yeah, the great way that they did it, I love that, they brought up that they could have done a shot where they show her face and then they cut down to the effect, but then that would just take it from the effect, where this one you see just full her face.
It looks like it's real.
It's just like
if you weren't really paying attention and see the color difference and the difference in what how I noticed too is her bone structure.
Yeah.
It changes a little so you can see that it's not her real chest.
Well, and it's just like Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible movies, the whole point of, if you don't see their face, it's a little harder to buy into it. But when you see that it's this person there, it kind of puzzles you a little more. It's kind of like a magician pulling off a trick.
And it goes on for a while, it builds up, so you don't really see it coming. Like, okay, I did not expect her to do that.
Yeah.
And,
everyone expected something to happen, but not necessarily that.
Well, and her finger comes out clean. I mean, if you stuck your finger all the way in your boob, wouldn't something come out with it?
The magic of movie making.
But yeah, so it was basically it was done with a gelatin type as opposed to just like foam rubber. So they said it has a really good memory that it would so it would seal back up like that. So that's the part that impressed me the most, is that it went in and then it just sealed right up. I thought that was pretty impressive.
You know what it reminds me of? My third grade teacher used to have this squishy thing that, he called it the stress relief for the class. And it was called like a nerd or whatever, but you could pull it.
Yes.
Kind of like a Stretch Armstrong, but it wasn't. It was just a head.
Okay.
And when you got really mad in class or something, or, you seemed frustrated, he'd put this on your desk and he'd be like, okay, your turn to play with the nerd, and you just squeeze it. And then at the end, it would just go all the way back to
I know
the way
exactly
it was
what you're
before.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if anybody else had one of those, but that's what it reminds me of, because it went back into perfect shape.
Well, regardless, we can all agree that Linnea Quigley and Steve Johnson have one of the best How We Met stories ever. The first time they're in the room together, okay, we're going to make a mold of your boobs. All right, well. Steve
Johnson, the effects guy, went on to marry Linnea Quigley in this movie.
Okay.
For those who didn't know. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's... I should probably give a bit of a synopsis, by the way.
Well, if you like B-horror movies, I don't think there's many people who have not seen Linnea Quigley's boobs.
This is true.
If not all of her. She's pretty almost full frontal in most of her movies as well, so...
Yeah.
So...
And yet...
Not much to the imagination there.
And yet, if you've ever seen Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bolorama with Linnea Quigley, she keeps her clothes on the entire time in that one.
Actually, you know what? You're right, now that I think about it.
Michelle Bauer
I think she's the
Frank
one
Stevens
that keeps
did.
her clothes on in that one.
Yeah.
Because what was the one that we were just watching not too long, where she was dancing?
Oh,
in the
Return
ring?
of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead.
She was like naked the whole movie.
Well, that's a story for another podcast, though, I'm sure.
We've done that movie, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's on my other podcast.
I would
still
like
have
to
it
meet
somewhere.
her and ask her how she did that. Like, how do you feel being naked in all of your movies? Like, for the whole world to see.
I think she said she doesn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so Linnea Quigley is in this movie. I got the interview. In case we hadn't established that yet. Although, I gotta say, though, I personally thought this was actually probably one of her worst performances. I think she was overacting a bit at some point. I don't know.
I think she was a little old for the part.
Yeah.
She was.
We were commenting
Yeah,
how...
she looks like she's 30 or 40 in
She
this
said she was
movie.
26 and she wasn't even going to go in for the part. And she had
I
they asked her
remember
like
that.
4 or 5 times.
She read, it was some number of times, and then they just kept saying, no, we want you, we want you, we want you. And then she was shocked when she found out she got the part, because she initially didn't even want to waste her time on it, because she was so certain they would go with somebody else.
Somebody younger. But, you know, she is Linnea Quigley, and she is in all the movies, and she will show anything. So, you know, congratulations on your part.
Yeah. Let's see. So basically, it's kind of a college party. Kids find a haunted house party in for Halloween, and they kind of raise demons, and they get possessed and start killing each other.
Think Evil Dead, but with a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You're the first Evil Dead with a sense of humor.
And with the party environment, Will's brought up while we were watching that it had a little bit of, I would say, maybe just 80s, but Return of the Living Dead vibe to it. I would say this movie is probably about halfway between Evil Dead and Return of the Living Dead.
There's definitely a comfortable middle ground there, and I think the main reason that I like Night of the Demons so much, and also Return of the Living Dead, is that it's horror. A lot of what you see is horrific. There's definitely some like very genuinely creepy moments, but you can always laugh your ass off every couple of minutes in the film at something, whether it's a line of dialogue, whether it's an actor reacting to something. I think that, as I was saying earlier, Hal Havens and Billy Gallo have the best facial reactions in that entire
They
film.
did.
They sell everything, and so there's always this comfortable sense of dark comedy all throughout.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, Amelia Kincaid, who played Angela, the main character. I don't know, well, who'd say is the main character, Angela or Judy?
I think it's hard to find a main character in that film, because
There
it's
was
got
such
such
an
a great
ensemble.
ensemble.
I would say it would be Angela, because she's the one who came up with the party in the first place. The whole thing is her idea, so it's pretty much based around what she decides to do for Halloween. Because she's the kid, she's the girl in school that nobody likes. They find her weird and offsetting. So they're like, oh, well, if she's going to throw a Halloween party and she's going to throw it in this already haunted house, why not go? You know, because it's not the weird ones you got to watch out for. That's even a line in the movie. So, you know, I would say that, you know, Angela was, but it was also offset. I don't think that there's a person in the movie that's really not a main character, I would say. You know, each one of them plays their own part of being the main character at some point.
I would almost venture to say that in the sequels, I would definitely say that Angela's the primary antagonist, but in this one, I'd almost say that Suzanne, Linnea Quigley's character, is more of a main villain.
First.
Well, she got possessed first, and she has more of the kind of the freakier scenes. But I think that it's hard to kind of stick any one character with that, because it is a party movie. It's an ensemble movie, and I think that with the sequels, Angela's the only reoccurring character. And the one line I really like that references this in the film is when Suzanne, you know, she's the first to get possessed, and she says, "Oh, it's your party. You're not going anywhere." And that's the kind of great foreshadowing, because she's the only character who's going to show up in every other movie.
Oh, yeah. I got to say about Kathy Podwell as Judy, I thought they were really setting her up to be the stereotypical final girl. Some of the parts I thought, when they were first messing with the old guy.
And she was the sweet, nice girl who tried to help him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she says something about that she was late because she was volunteering for the homeless.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything was, shouldn't we stop and help them? Everything. She was like almost super nice that it was almost getting annoying.
Well, and then they, you know, it kind of, this film, one of the things that it does really well, especially for the time it came out, is it really messes with conventions, and it really messes with cliches.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, in any other movie like this, she's the final girl because she's the virginal girl, but there's even a question that's never really answered if she had ever been with this other character.
True.
And she refuses to ever throughout the film say whether or not that had happened. So there's no real confirmation on whether she actually was a virginal character in the film or not, or if the film's just trying to portray her as such.
Well, what I got actually out of the film is that the actual virginal character turned out to be the black guy, because he's the one who went out and he sat in the car, and he's the one who made it over first and helped her. She almost was sunk in. Mm-hmm. So I took away from the movie that actually the purest person in the group who wasn't touched hardly at all was the black guy.
Well, and he even mentioned about how he can being raised by a preacher and praying and everything.
And he was the one crying. He was the one who was actually scared through the whole movie.
He's kind of the eyes of the audience in the film, because he's the one saying and doing what everyone is yelling at the screen.
It depends on how you want to look at it, but you can kind of take it away that we found out that she actually wasn't the pure one partway through because of the question. So then, who was the purest of the group? It was probably the black guy.
Roger.
Yeah. I was thinking because I went ahead and watched the extras before I rewatched the extras, and Alvin Alexis, who plays Roger, was talking about his character. He says, I find out that, the stereotype is that the black character dies in the first 5 minutes, and he says, and I learned not only do I get to survive, I get to be the hero. Yeah. And I was thinking, okay, I'm watching for him to be the hero, and I see him curled up in a ball crying in the corner. I'm like, what kind of hero are you? And then he goes and dives out the window, just leaves the girl behind. What kind of hero are you?
Well, he kind of has the exact opposite character arc of every other character in the film, because whereas every other character starts off very daring, very bold, very ready to go along with whatever the group is doing, and he's the more timid character. He's the character who, like I said, is the voice of the audience. He's the one going, you idiots, why would we do this? And, then toward the end of the movie, everyone's broken down. They're either dead, possessed, or they're complete. They're just emotionally broken down by the events of the movie, and then that's when he finds his courage and steps in. So the character arc he just kind of has the exact opposite reaction to everything that's happening in the film.
When he also seemed like he was kind of like the third wheel in the movie. Everybody else in the beginning seemed like they had their partner and their person with them, and he didn't. Yeah. He seemed like the oddball.
Yeah.
Like he could have even been pure because, I don't know, just throwing it out there. Maybe he, turns out later he was a homosexual character. He was a gay character. Or something. The way he acted in some of the parts, I
could see
I read it a little ways that way, maybe.
Yeah, it's possible too, because also Angela and Suzanne throughout the film, I don't think they had dates to the party either, but I think the way that they look at it is, like I said, just in terms of messing with convention, why not have the black guy be the hero, and why not build up the whole movie you think that he's going to die?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought it was weird, too, that none of the other characters hit on him in the whole movie. They all kind of worked the room, especially Linnea Quigley.
Yeah.
They all worked the room, every other guy, but never hit on him. And that's why I took away maybe...
Yeah?
In many ways, he's kind of the outcast. Even more than Angela is, he's kind of the outcast of the group.
I mean, that's... the more I watch the movie, the more things I look for like that, and... That's what kind of turned me to think that, too, because they never once even tried. None of them.
Yeah.
Not even the girl who went outside with him who disappeared.
Yeah.
Nobody at any point in the movie ever tried to come on to Roger.
Yeah. He was at least hanging out.
As they were all passing each other around pretty well through the movie, so.
Yeah. He was at least hanging around with Stooge and
Helen.
Helen, a bit. Which, man, Stooge was an asshole to her.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
He liked calling girls the bitch.
No, I tell you, though, it's not even so much what Hal Havens says. It's not even so much his dialogue. It's how over the top his delivery is.
Yeah.
He has to shout every other line. I almost think that Will Ferrell probably watched Hal Havens in a couple movies and then decided, you know what? That's the secret. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to yell every other line of dialogue.
I still think Stooge reminds me of John Candy.
He definitely looks like John Candy.
I could see that.
Yes.
He did admit to being influenced by John Belushi.
Oh yeah, that's the best line in the movie. Eat a bowl of peas or green beans. It was something like that.
Fuck.
Yeah.
We're not child friendly on this, sorry. But I said the makeup effects. I was gonna say I was looking over Linnea's husband, Steve Johnson. He's got a lot of credits on here. I'm just browsing over his IMDb page. Also got Big Trouble in Little China.
Well, even before Night of the Demons, he had Ghostbusters and Fright Night under his belt, and I think I might be wrong about this. I think he did some of the makeup on Michael Jackson's Thriller, but
that's cool.
I think so. I know.
But I think he was with a company, and the Night of the Demons was his first solo outing as a makeup artist. I think he was always with a group of people up until that point.
Well, Well, it's something I've always wanted to dabble more in. So, I mean, I wanted to be Angela for Halloween, but good luck finding a dress like that. That was a really unique dress, and it seems like in her dance sequence, it seems like it was changing. We were talking about that.
It seemed like when she was dancing, there were fewer layers. To her dress.
So it seemed like just the underneath, like she was dressing. She was in more of like a negligee type with bottom,
like with tulle or something.
But then at the end, she had the silk part over the top.
Yeah,
like
it looked like
layer.
silk or satin.
Here, there's one of Wheels' favorites he worked on. Humanoids from the Deep.
An American classic, Humanoids from the Deep.
Ooh, Dead Heat also.
Oh,
Howling sequels, sorry.
Howling 2, best movie ever made by anyone, anywhere.
But I would say,
Oh, boy.
I would say that Dee Wallace is probably one of the nicest people we've ever met.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So if you ever get a chance to meet Dee Wallace, she is amazing.
Oh, that's cool. Sometimes you never know. And like we were talking about this earlier, how we would go to these conventions, like, 'cause usually the villains are the nice ones, and people are coming across nice on screen. But
Felissa Rose, also an amazing
she is awesome.
person.
Oh, yeah.
And if we ever see her at another convention, I swear she remembers us, because she'll be like, "Hi."
she does it to me too.
I mean,
cool.
she's a really outgoing, nice person. I tell you what, I haven't met too many people that weren't really nice. We won't mention the ones that we've met that weren't very nice, but there's not too many.
I did on other
especially the horror movies, especially the horror movies.
I can say, with Night of the Demons, I was lucky enough to get to Days of the Dead in 2014 in Indianapolis, and they had a Night of the Demons cast reunion, and I think they had just about everyone there except for Lance Fenton. I think he was the only no-show.
Oh, wow.
And they were all incredibly nice. I remember I was walking with a friend of mine down the hall, and I bumped into this other guy, and this guy had a big old beard, and he just kind of walked by me. He goes, "Oh, sorry, excuse me, sir." And I'm like, "Oh, no problem at all." And my friend taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "That was Stooge, right?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" He says, "Yeah, Stooge calls everyone bitch, but he called you sir."
Yeah, that's totally probably nice in real life. Hey, we mentioned Lance Fenton. Like I said, I pointed him out. He was also in Heathers.
Yes.
Love my dead gay son. Actually, it wasn't him. It was the other one, but I think he was the one who got shot. But yeah, we know what you're talking about. And Amelia Kincaid, I've also recognized. Well, I didn't realize it was her till it was pointed out. But has anybody here seen the Stray Cats video, Sexy and 17?
I have not. I know that you mentioned.
But I forgot I'm an older fellow.
But yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I know her from that. And she's pretty hot in it. Okay. But yeah, she hasn't done a lot of acting, but it seems like I was looking over IMDb page, but she's danced for like Donna Summer and all these others, so.
Well, and in the video, I know when we got the documentary, it does go in and say that they actually wanted somebody else for the Angela part, but then one of the other guys was like, no, you don't understand. You got to see Angela. You got to see Amelia Kincaid dance. Once you see her dance, you'll want her for the part.
Yeah.
Because, they wanted somebody else, but they wanted that dance sequence, and nobody could have done the dance sequence like Amelia Kincaid.
This was shortly after the whole flash dance thing was going on, so being a dancer at that time, that was, pretty...
Well, it seemed like at that point in the mid to late 80s, you couldn't have like a horror comedy kind of film without some kind of dance sequence in the middle, whether it was Fright Night or whether it was actually almost every vampire movie.
Oh, now I think about it,
had a dance sequence. Once Bitten. It was even The Hunger with David Bowie.
You kind of look for that in a movie, and I know being a girl and growing up watching these movies, the dance scene was like our favorite part. I remember watching Once Bitten over and over and over again, just rewinding the dance sequence, and that me and my sister would go out in the backyard and try to reenact the dance sequence. We would have to take turns because we both wanted to be the vampire and not the other girl, because neither of us liked her. But,
Marcy from Married with Children?
but yeah, I mean, we both wanted to be the vampire. But I remember that's something, as you watch movies, that's just an extra something that, people look forward to. I always did.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Sadly, I sort of had to run out and miss that part today. So as soon as I stuck my head through the door, I gotta hear more about this. Apparently, first thing I said as I came through the doors, did I miss a dance scene? Okay, and then you guys were having some discussion about sexualization of women. Did you feel that was the scene you were talking about?
No, it just came up in general.
Oh, okay.
We were just. It started with when Linnea Quigley was showing body parts, and we just kind of talked about how you tend, if there's going to be frontal nudity, it's most likely a woman, and if you're going to see anything of a man, you might just be his butt, but and it's just so one-sided for showing women and not for men.
It's kind of sexist. That we think that it's kind of sexist.
Within a 15 to 20 minute period, there's Amelia Kincaid's butt. There's Linnea like full frontal. There's Jill Teresita's boobs. There's like all this female nudity, and it's within like a very short span of time. So it's just very noticeable as you're watching it. Yeah. And we were talking about
the fairness.
The fairness that, when you watch a film and there's a naked male character, almost everyone watching, whether they're male or female, will be like, oh, why do we have to look at that? But it's interesting that if there's a naked woman, the complete opposite reaction. And so we had just wrapped up this discussion, and then, then Clint comes in and goes, oh, did I miss the dance scene?
Well, it just amazes me that in even in movies today, and people can argue with me on this, it just seems one-sided. Like movies are hyped up for men a lot more than they're hyped up for women.
Yep.
You get to see, people say, oh, but he had his shirt off the whole time. Who cares? It's not the same as a woman's boobs hanging out. It's different, in that sort of thing. So I just think in a lot of movies, it's not that women are over-sexualized, it's that they hype the movies for the men to go to see them more than they do the women. Because if you have a movie, and women are just as much into horror movies and scary movies as men are. So why not give us a little something? We want something to rush to the movie theater to go see. Not saying that, showing a man full frontal is the most beautiful thing in the world. It's just we want to know that we're needed too.
Yes.
We want our piece of the pie.
I mentioned too when we were having this conversation that that's a nice little pun there. But I remember when we were watching this part of the movie having this conversation that if anyone out there has seen the director's commentary on Night of the Demons 2, at one point the director of that film, Brian Trencher Smith, says he makes it known there was a certain number of scenes. The studio said you have to have a certain number of scenes that are topless scenes. It was part of they would tell the screenwriter, you need, this many death scenes, you need this many topless scenes, because that's really what they're selling. Does it have to be
women topless scenes?
I assume.
I believe so. I believe so.
Well, it's like you just said, if the guy's shirtless, who cares? So I assume that was the point of it.
How about, equal number of men butt scenes to women boob scenes?
Let's get the ratio right, Hollywood. Come on. Because what I'm starting to find now is that movies that come out today, especially horror movies, there's either no nudity at all, or there's nudity, but it's in the context of a rape scene, or someone's covered in blood, or it's whatever.
Right.
Let's go back to nudity in film, but let's even the ratio out a little bit.
I think at the first time I ever saw a wiener in a horror movie was the reveal of Felissa Rose at the end of Summer Camp.
Right.
Or, Sleepaway Camp. Yeah. So, that's just, it's just not fair. That's all. I'm not saying I have to see a wiener in every movie, but, at least try to make it a little bit more
But I want to flip that a little bit on the how we look at the exploitation factor. Is that to an extent you said, like I said, you don't really care to see that. I'm questioning sometimes with this is what is more exploitive, the fact that women have breasts or the fact that men are just that easily entertained by them?
Oh, it's a great marketing tool, I tell you, because
movies are often used to, I would say, so that people can take their mind off an otherwise bad movie.
Well, in slasher movies, especially
and B
movies, the 80s, were marketed almost explicitly toward men. You watch a trailer for any Jason movie, for any Freddy movie, and there is much more footage in that trailer to attract a male crowd than a female crowd. And I think that it's not the horror genre, it's specifically the slasher subgenre. And it's also specifically the 80s and the early 90s when it was starting to die out. Because if you go back to... If you go back to...
she agrees.
Well, if you go back and look at the resurgence of slasher films in the mid-90s, like Scream and Urban Legend, there's no nudity.
Yeah.
Right.
At all.
Well, it's not just horror movies, too. I'm talking about, I mean, this is like worldwide, almost every movie. If you watch a romantic comedy or a drama or any kind of movie where there is a sex scene, you're most likely to see a boob instead of anything from a guy.
That's true.
That's in any movie.
It's true.
It's not just this genre. It's just this genre was full of boobs. But I'm just saying, not that I have a problem seeing boobs, because I mean, I look at them every day. I mean, it's just part of life. But it's just.
It's kind of
overkill a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of the 3 B's of slasher films. There's boobs, blood, and bad behavior. And if it's a good slasher film, there's probably a whole lot of all 3.
Yeah, especially in the 80s. I think perceptions have changed over the years too, especially from the 80s to now. I think we have slightly different sensibilities, and I think 80s were a lot more homophobic than we are now.
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, I think maybe a lot of the perception was that, I'm just guessing here, but I think a lot of perception was that maybe women just aren't into horror movies. Like, we know that to be otherwise today, but back in the 80s, I think people were thinking that, well, women need to be watching these rom-coms and things like that. And
well, and that's the thing, like, that was
it was a very un-PC
that was my
decade.
Mom's thing. That was like the only real time I
Right.
got to spend with my mom is we'd curl up on her bed and we watched horror movies. I'm talking from 2. That's why Freddy scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Even, I used to always have nightmares. Children of the Corn. Some of the ones that people were like, "Oh, you had nightmares from that?" Well, when did you see it? Did you see it when you were,
Yeah.
I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 80. So when Nightmare on Elm Street comes out in 82 and 83 and 86, I was young and I saw those movies when they came out. So yeah, those scared me. But that was the good times that me and my mom had, was watching horror movies. And almost all of my friends growing up, all my girlfriends, we loved horror movies. What do you think when girls have slumber parties? What do you think they talk about? They don't talk about guys and that. They talk about the same thing.
Strawberry
guys
shortcake?
do. No, there's no
Care
My Little
Bears?
Ponies and Barbies at sleepovers. At least
Really?
the ones I went to.
Ponies and stickers
we
and
told
MySpace.com.
scary stories and tried to scare the tits off the other girl,
I completely believe that, but it's not so much, was it right? It's so much, I think that was the studio mindset. And the studios at the time were almost completely 100% run by men.
Yeah.
So that was the way of thinking, and I think Clint's definitely got a point
because they wanted to see boobs. They wanted everybody else to see boobs.
It's obvious they didn't know anything about women.
Yes.
It's a shame. They were still.
Oh,
good
we still
movies,
don't.
though.
We're guys. Sorry, I can do it. But okay. Oh yeah, I was going about music. One of the key reasons I also like that dance scene is one, I thought it was creepy, and I love that song because it's from Bauhaus. They're a fairly well-known kind of goth band. Anybody here seen The Hunger, David Bowie?
I saw it once several years ago. It's with him and Susan Sarandon, right?
Yeah. And the opening sequence that I thought was creepy as all hell with the band.
Well, it's a great club sequence, and I was saying, almost every 80s, especially if it was a vampire movie, there's a club scene or a dance scene in there somewhere. The Hunger had one of the better ones, and it was right at the beginning of the film.
Yeah. I found it was Bauhaus because one of the key things I said, I thought the creep dance sequence was cool, but I also loved the music in that part, so I had to go look up the band. I found out it was a band that I already knew. So
well, and the song Stigmata Martyr was actually Amelia Kincaid's idea.
Oh yeah.
They had a different song, and then she practiced dance to it, and she said, well, here, let me show you what I've come up with, and she did the dance to that song, and they said, okay, let's get that in there.
Oh, nice.
All the music in Night of the Demons is pretty original, especially if you look at the fact that it was 88. They had this high synth score. Most horror movies at the time, they had an orchestra, or they had very minimal music, or everything was a violin shrieking, or and they went very kind of 80s pop synth with it, and the score itself is incredible.
I agree. All right, well, let's see. I don't really have a whole lot else to say. Just what are some of our general... Oh, wait. Oh, I'm going to bring up some of the parts that I never get to do anymore because I got my old list. So what does everybody think was the scariest part of the movie?
The scariest part?
Creepiest, unsettling, something, anything?
Oh, there's so many scenes that I think are unnerving, but like I said, because the sense of humor in this film is so,
right.
I don't want to say pervasive, but it's always present. And
yeah, I didn't really feel scared in the movie. I felt creepy? Like I wanted to know how it was going to go. Like you can't stop watching it, but I didn't really feel like it was creepy at all, really. It was more funny.
I think the creepiest moments, in my opinion, in the film are the scenes where there isn't a lot going on, or it's a facial expression, or it's I almost feel like the scenes that everyone talks about, that we've talked about, the dance scene, the lipstick scene, they're bizarre.
Yeah.
But to me, I remember the first time I saw this film, I was 12 years old, and for me, the dance scene was the scariest part of it. And, watching it now as an adult, and I said this when we were watching the film, it's the simplest editing trick. They make her look like she's dancing all over the room and jumping. When you're 12 years old watching this for the first time at 2 a.m. at a friend's house, that is a creepy visual.
Yeah.
And it's almost a slow burn in the sense that things gradually get weirder and weirder and weirder until everyone just starts getting knocked off.
Right. I actually think what would be creepy for me is wanting to have sex in a coffin. I thought that was
disturbing.
That was disturbing to me. That you never even know if anything was in there.
Right.
But they wanted to have sex in this coffin that's in this haunted house. Like that would never happen for me. Like how do you even get it up when you're thinking of what's going on? I mean that's probably the creepiest part for me.
The line of dialogue is, "This is worse than my father's V-dub."
Yes. Yeah, for me, I think it was just the scariest part. To me, was just the makeup of some of the makeup effects, especially the Linnea Quigley shot right before Judy runs out onto the roof. I thought she just looked really. I'm more of a visual. What do I find visually creepy? And to me, it's just the makeup effects. I'm not a big into jump scares. I'm just more of unsettling images personally. Mm-hmm. How about funniest part?
Oh gosh, here's the real challenge.
Yeah. There was nothing funny in this movie.
I always liked the idea that it's early on when one of the characters, Angela, says to Suzanne, and she says, we need a mirror for this seance. And Suzanne says, how about this one? This little makeup mirror.
Yeah.
And well, we need one we can all look into at once. And then right at that second, there's the weird sound and... let's go investigate. We were talking about this as we watch it. It's like every horror movie has to have the weird sound and some idiot that goes, I'm going to check that out. I'll be right back. But I love how they handled this with Stooge kind of bullying Roger into the other room.
Yeah, but I like that they both went, he kind of threw him in first, but they both went about the same time. So.
Yeah. I think Stooge is responsible for something like 80% of the funniest parts of that film, but that I think is the part that I will always laugh at no matter how many times I see it, is when he's kind of shoehorning Roger in first.
Well, actually, one of the I'm gonna go back a step, and another unsettling moment for me was when her brother was hiding in the closet while she's getting dressed, and he goes, "Bodacious boobs, sis."
Yeah, right.
Like that's just unsettling. That's
sick.
That's a little gross.
Yep.
I mean, I can.
Have you ever seen Funhouse?
Well, yeah. I can see being a kid, and maybe it's your first set of boobs as your sister's, but there's just it was a little unsettling.
I don't think there's anything unsettling about. I think the fact that he's hiding in there watching her strip this whole time is more unsettling than the line of dialogue where he's like, "Nice boobs," because that's a joke, that's a mockery, that's a
yeah.
But the fact that he's hiding in there, I mean, I think if I was hiding in my sister's closet wanting to scare her, as soon as I saw her take her shirt off, I'd be like, "Wait, no, I'm in here. Stop! Don't do the thing." And the fact that this little punk stays in the closet is quiet and just watches the whole time is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Well, my funny moment is not even part of a scary moment or anything, but the old man, "You son of a bitch." It just cracked me up.
I kind of like it when he gets it at the end.
I love that
when
too.
He eats his own apple pie.
Loved it. When I was watching it, I was so hoping his wife didn't do it on accident.
Her reaction at the end is the best.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite.
I love
one of my favorite parts of the movie.
It's so Tales from the Crypt too. It's so easy. With the wraparound. The movie opens with him, and the rest of the movie has nothing to do with him until the last minute and a half, and it's like it bookends. the crazy old bastard.
I was wondering, the newspaper he brought in, I was wondering if it was like if he was going to unfold it and there's going to be this front page story about kids dying with, these razors in their throats. But no, this was way better.
Right. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think Jay took the funniest one, that it was just just a very subtle moment of Jay is dancing with Judy, and then Suzanne walks by, and he just follows her right off. It was just so subtle, but so messed up.
What a dick.
Oh, and let's just talk for a second about what a dick every guy is in this movie, except for Roger, because
so
Jay
they kind of
is a
passed
dick.
him around.
Yes.
Jay is a dick. Stooge is a dick, but he's like an entertaining dick. He's kind of like that guy who's like, he's an asshole, but he's our asshole.
So he's a dancing cock to you?
Yeah, kind of. Let's just call it that.
Well, you notice how his tone took down a couple notches when she shut the bathroom door. Oh, I thought we were going to go in there together.
Like, you could tell that he's a character who's like, when he's with a group, he's a completely different person than when he's by himself.
Yeah.
And that was one that threw me off. Is like, now Sal started off as kind of a dick, but I kind of felt like he was going to the he was kind of like the guy not buying everything, and he was seeing that something was wrong.
He really loved Judy too. You could really tell throughout the movie. Like, he tried to play macho, but deep down he was in love with her.
Yeah, but who did he play macho at the most? There were people who were the little brother who was kind of a dick to begin with.
Yeah.
Takes one to
It's
know
kind
one,
of
I guess.
thing is it is once again the 80s horror cliche of every girl's a little whorish and every guy's kind of a jerk. And but it's you do that on purpose when you write the script, because you don't want anyone feeling too sorry when they die.
Yeah.
But with Sal and Billy Gallo, and he also has one of the best lines in the movie when Linnea Quigley's freaking out. She's got the lipstick all over, and she says, you are home, Sal, which is another cliche that line's in every other horror movie ever made. I'm going home. Well, you are home. But then he goes, oh, no, not me. I got a nice place with slip covers on the furniture.
That was funny.
So that's about all I got. Should we give our final ratings? We usually rate these on a scale of 1 to 5 hatchets. I would say this is my rating. I say now this doesn't apply to Lee because she doesn't buy DVDs and such like I do. It's like 5 is a classic must-own all-time great. 4 is I would probably buy it on sale. 3 is I watched it once, I enjoyed it, but don't really care to see it again. 2 is meh, and 1 is fuck you for making me sit through that.
Well, I would say when I first saw the movie, my rating would be different than seeing it today, because like I said, the more I watch it, the more I tend to like it, because you catch more. You're not sitting through it because somebody said, oh, this is the greatest, horriblest movie you'll ever see, and you're like, oh God, I gotta watch this movie. So the first time you're not really into seeing it.
Yeah.
So then as you watch it more and more, you grow to like it. So I would say this would be a 4 for me.
No, I'd say 5, which comes no.
Oh yeah, I know it's one of your all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say a 3.5 because I don't think I would watch it on my own, like just sitting at home. Oh, gee, what am I going to do? But I would love watching it with people, and I would watch it again and again with people. And I'm not sure that I would, unless I knew the person, then I might recommend them buy it. But most likely I wouldn't even say, oh, you have to own this, unless I know it's somebody that's going to be like, you guys.
It is a little Rocky Horror-ish in the sense that if you watch it with a group, it's a lot more fun than if you're just watching it yourself.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I'm going 4 as well. It's like I said, it's one I actually bought on sale, but it's one that I'm actually happy to have in my collection. And so just right quickly, Colin, since you did them on your show, but a quick rundown. What did you think of the sequels?
Oh, boy. He says, quick rundown. What is he doing? The sequels. Well, let's see. Night of the Demons 2, are you asking just for a simple rating for each of the sequels?
Sure, yeah. Just simple.
Night of the Demons 2, I'd do a 4 on. I think that it's an incredibly entertaining movie. I think it embraced the humor even more than the first one did, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. But the one thing that always gets me about the second one is that it almost completely neglects all of the rules set up by the first one. The one that always gets me right off the bat is they say, well, Angela in the sequels, she can't exist unless it's Halloween night. The first scene of the movie has her in broad daylight some random day killing a couple people who come to the house. It's things like that in the second one that kind of bug me. It doesn't really stick to any logic set forth by the first movie. But I still enjoy a lot of the humor, and I think it has a lot of creative death scenes in it. So I'll give that one a 4. People have told me there's a third one. I don't know. It
never happened.
It never happened, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, I feel like at some point I might have seen an attempt at a third movie, but we'll just leave it at that. In all honesty, the third movie I'd give a 2.5 if I'm feeling generous. I think it's worth watching only for the makeup and only for Amelia Kincaid, and if you're a completionist, like, you have to see all of them.
Okay.
Then you see the third one, but it's definitely not. If the first one in this series you see is the third one, I seriously doubt you'll ever watch 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Because you'll think that sets the standard, and it's really not great.
All right, cool. Because I was asking, because I was thinking, should I get the other 2? I have the first one. Should I be a completionist, or should I just stop with 1?
I'd tell you to get the second one.
Do you think that they should have stopped at the first one, or do you think that it was worth making a second one?
No, they shouldn't have stopped at the first one, because the first one that I saw was the second one. I saw the second movie before I ever saw, and it was a very simple explanation. My buddy and I we're both 12 years old. We're both at Blockbuster looking for horror movies, and the first one was rented out, so we got the second one.
Why did you do that?
No, because we didn't care. We were 12 years old. We wanted boobs and blood.
There you go.
But we liked the
80s.
second one so much that we sought out 1 and 2, and we did watch the first one directly after that, and then watch the third one. And I think that's also part of why I would give the second one such a high rating, is because it was my introduction to the series.
And it made you want to watch the first one.
Yeah, the second one made me want to watch the first one, exactly.
That makes sense to me. I saw Hellraiser 2 before I saw Hellraiser 1.
Oh, so you saw the better one.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
The creepier one.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw
Definitely the gorier one.
Yep. Okay, well, I guess that's about all we got, so I'm just going to go ahead and sign off with, this is Clint, along with...
Colin.
Alyssa.
And Lee.
All right, catch y'all later. Hello, and welcome back to the rest of the Night of the Demons episode. We got
Hello.
Wheels here.
Hey, everybody. I'm back.
And-
Well, I was here originally, but I had to step out. You know, life steps in,
Yeah.
and you have to step out, so.
All right, so yeah, we've first gotten my thoughts, although I got a few other things I didn't get to poke at that I want to hit on this one, but we're mostly here to get Wheels' perspective on it.
My perspective on Night of the Demons?
How did you first come across this one? Do you remember?
It's one of two. I either saw it, like, on a cable, like, you know, like when
Yeah.
it first came out, or more likely, I think I rented this one at the video store.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. I can't lay a bet on which one it is, but it is definitely one of those.
Yeah, you did point out something with the makeup effects, how it was similar to another movie that, believe it or not, I actually thought was actually kind of related to this one.
Well,
in the day.
there was a lot of... I actually was kind of confused about that myself when this movie came out, too, because Lamberto Bava's Demons...
Yep.
I always felt like the makeup for, like, when Angela, especially Angela...
Yeah.
when she transforms, goes like full demon in this movie, is very reminiscent to like the way the demons look in Bava's I won't say version because they're completely two separate movies.
Yeah.
But in Bava's Demons,
Oh, yeah.
especially like, you know, the teeth wise.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think even by the cover is probably where I thought they had something to do with each other.
Yeah, because like I said, especially with Angela's makeup, some of the other ones, you know, you can tell the differences.
Yeah.
But especially with Angela, when she goes full demon, the way she looks, especially, like you said, especially the cover, with her look and the look of the demons on a... Well, depending on what version of the DVD or videotape you had of that movie, depends on the cover, because one of the covers I remember is a full facial of, like, one of the demons, like, you know, doing the roar. And they look very similar. I'm not familiar, but similar, I should say.
Yeah. I had one problem, actually, with the DVD cover on this version that I have.
I like the DVD version. It's like the art. It's like one of the one. It's like a
the artistic
It's
one?
like the artistic one. It's like a painting or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of those are really cool. I mean, I've seen some that are, you know, like, I don't want to say stinkers, but like, you know, didn't seem they put like the full effort behind it. This one wasn't too bad. I mean, I like the cover of this version.
It looks cool, but there's a problem with it.
Okay, what is?
Stooge.
All right, what's the?
They show Stooge in demon form with this pig nose on. He never wears the pig nose when he's in demon form. I was looking for it this time.
That's nitpicky.
I know, but it's still inaccurate.
You really like to pick the little parts.
I'm just saying, I mean, he wore it, but he never wore it while he was a demon. So, the cover's misleading on that.
Okay.
I thought he would have picked up at some point.
I'll let it go.
Yeah, one other thing we had talked on the other section about, Linnea Quigley being a little old for this role, playing high school.
You said she was like 27 when...
Yeah, that's what they said on the behind-the-scenes thing.
And what year was this?
88.
88, so... Well, then she's only 7 years older than me.
Yeah.
Because I was 20 in 88.
Yeah. Although it says she was born in 58. That would give her 10 years on us.
Well, then she would have been 30 in this movie and not 26.
Maybe they filmed it and took a year or two to release.
That could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a...
So I bet she was at least 28.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did look. We were trying to figure out if anybody else in the cast was older than her. And actually, there were some that didn't give their birth dates.
I mean, I noticed like IMDb.
Stooge, no idea.
IMDb's like really weird. Some of you get like the days they were born. Some you get none of that.
Probably depends on how big a name they are and such. How much people want to know or about their personal business. Anyway, but yeah, there were three. There were three actors who were actually older than Linnea Quigley in this.
Well, we know the old guy was.
Okay, that was one.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna see if you were gonna go there with that one.
Harold Ayer as the old man, Mary Den
as his wife,
and Karen Erickson.
Okay.
Judy's mom.
Okay, yeah. So we.
Okay, but yeah, as far as the kids in the house, yeah, everybody I found, there were only two that I couldn't. They didn't get their dates, but yeah, they were all younger. They were all in their born in the 60s.
Like me.
Yeah. I think one was even born in the 70s. I think Helen was probably the youngest one.
I don't know. It's like, it's like with a lot of these movies, especially like the horror movies, 80s, and, even nowadays, if somebody looks the certain way, I don't care how old they are. Well, like, let's take a look at like Michael J. Fox when he was on like, what was it, Family Ties? Or he was like in his 20s and something, I think, when they were filming that show.
Right.
And he was supposed to be like in high school.
If you can pull it off, yeah.
Yeah. And then the same with the whole Back to the Future. He was supposed to be like in high school, and he was up in his 20s and that too. So.
Oh yeah.
So it all depends on how if you look young, you can get the young roles.
Yep. So we had talked how they resembled a bit of Bava's demons, although we also mentioned after Angela got burnt.
And you said that was the first time you recognized that was like tonight too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you're like, wait a minute.
Well, it had been hitting me that she reminded me of somebody. She reminded me of somebody, and then tonight it finally hit me. Once the half her face is burned and the way she talks, she's freaking Sammy Kerr from Trick or Treat.
Yeah, my pick from that was a way few episodes ago, but yeah, no.
With the voice on her half her side, the way her hair looks anyway, and
when you said that, I'm like, holy shit, you're right.
So Angela becomes Sammy Kerr towards the end of the movie in a dress,
especially that one shot that one scene.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way it looked. It even seemed like it was filmed that way because I'm like, wait a minute, that looks almost shot like.
Yeah. So did you know the original title of this movie?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
It was originally, and this is something I actually kind of want to protest. It was originally supposed to be called Halloween Party, but the makers of the Halloween franchise were threatening legal action against that title. I'm like,
hey, wait a minute. It's like, how could you
can't just take over a holiday like that.
Well, I mean, and you can't take over just a name. Halloween is a universal word. I mean, it's like if the Halloween franchise literally wanted to you could like a Halloween Town or any other thing that has the word Halloween in it. It's like, yeah, no. It's because a little quick off that. This subject is like when Fulci Zombie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I talked about that one. If that one's going way back when we did it for
episode 2.
Episode 2. The makers of Dawn of the Dead, or somebody tried to sue somebody because they used the word zombie, and the judge was like, yeah, no, you can't do that. The word zombie is a universal thing that's been around way longer
than your movie
or anything that. So the phrase Halloween has been around like way longer than, the original Halloween or anybody that, I don't know where they were in the franchise when this came out. Probably like 4 or 5, I'm thinking. And then, but yeah, no, I'd have been like with the judge like that. I'd have kept the Halloween Town and took him to court because I mean, the word Halloween was around way longer before, like, 1978.
Exactly. Oh, okay. So what were some of your general likes and dislikes about the movie?
I don't know if I'll get the dislikes out first because I don't know really they are any. Because this is just one of those movies it's another one that's just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is camp good fun. I remember when it's Colin, right?
Yes.
We only met once, so I'm like, I got the name right. Yay. But I remember when I was here before I had to leave, he was like, we were talking, he's like, I'm going to say something that like, like might be like sacrilege. And I'm like, what's that? He's like, I actually prefer like Return of the Living Dead to like Night of the Living Dead. And in some circles, those are fighting words.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I can see that. I mean, I can see like, like where Return of the Living Dead would most likely be like your favorite movie of that because it's not, it's the tone. It's what you're looking for in the film. And whereas Night of the Living Dead, that one is like, a downer when you get to the end of it. That one's like a serious like gut punch thing. And that is whereas Return of the Living Dead is like you're having fun with it. I mean, it still doesn't end ratherly happy, but
it's a fun watch.
But it's a fun watch. You're having a good time. You're not depressed by the end, really.
Yep.
As you are with the other one. And that's how I feel a lot about like like this movie, Night of the Demons. It's that same kind of tone. Right. It's that same kind of feel. You're having fun with it. This is not. Let's go some other like possessed houses and like or other like movies about demons. This is not The Exorcist or the Amityville Horror. I mean, where it's meant to be like you're looking for a serious or like you're taking it away, like you're playing it for like serious. This is, I won't say they're playing Night of the Demons for laughs, but there's a lot of camp, a lot of fun, and a lot of like you're more up at the end of this than you are say like you are at the end of The Exorcist and things like that, where other people have been possessed by demons.
Yeah, and I'd say this movie has a very similar vibe, I think, to Return of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah, that's
I would even say I'd even throw Night of the Creeps in there too.
Night of the Creeps. I'll even go with House.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember much about House 2, but I think you could probably throw that in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies like that, like in the, I would say, mid to late 80s that were going for that more. There's comedic elements without being full-on comedy.
Right.
Which is like this, and especially this and Return of the Living Dead. I mean, there was that one, I don't know what it was, but when I actually saw Return of the Living Dead when it came out in the theater, and I don't know why it was, the one scene that always like busted me up is when they're like trying to get to the phone in the basement, and when what's his name grabs the bat and they're like, open the door, I'm going to knock his block off. And they open the door and the tar man comes stumbling out. He doesn't even get brains halfway out. It's like Brit and whap. It's like it's like taking a T-ball right off the thing, and that just busted me up. It was probably like whatever my teenage brain was like that, but that would just crack me up. And like I said, you're not getting that if you're cracking up in like Night of the Living Dead when like the truck blows up or Ben gets shot. Seek help. That's like. But yeah, Mo. So I look at it as like like the tone and the feel of the movies.
Right. Is it a fun watch? Is it
a fun watch? And I like some like like serious like straight up gut punch horror, like when we talked about like Henry a while ago.
Right.
He did the Henry, and like that one is like, whew, yeah. Okay, won't go too much into that one right now, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep. I'm usually one who's not really so much into the downer movies.
Yeah, you do. You tend to like the more like the campy, the ones that you just have fun with.
Yeah. Or that are really, really tense or something like that. Or so
tense, yeah.
Sometimes tense, but yeah.
I'm just all over the board. I mean, there's so many different elements of the horror genre. Like I said,
true.
Like zombie, slasher.
Monster movies.
Creature feature, monster. And like, I'm all over the board with it. I like a lot of stuff for like a lot of different reasons. So
I can see that.
And so, yeah, that's mainly my likes. Well, I went into my likes as in like, because like I really don't have any dislikes with this.
There you go. I'm cool with that.
And like I said, like I found like at least Angela's makeup maybe a little too, like I said, similar to Demons, but that wasn't like, like taking me out like, forget,
I want to get nitpicky. Well, the zombie makeup and the dead is too close to, or
yeah,
zombie movies. There's not usually
I mean, well, how many so much you can do with like rotting bodies.
Right.
They only go like so bad.
Okay, cool. So should we go to? Do you have anything more? Or do you want to give a Hatchet rating?
Well, I'll go ahead with my Hatchet rating or whatever, but I'll give this a good it's a good solid 4.
Okay.
I mean, I like it. It's probably one if I, ever do come across, I will pick up because I would like it for my collection.
Yeah.
It's not one of those ones that's where I have to I got to watch this. I mean,
yeah, there's a classic vibe to this, but not all time ultimate classic. I would say.
I won't say that. I mean, like I said, it all depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some. I mean, I could see there are people out there that absolutely love this. I got to watch it, every so often and pull it out.
Oh, I can see that.
And I will. There's no argument there at all with that. That, just for me, it's it's a good solid 4. I enjoy it every time I see it. If it's on, I'll watch it. And sooner or later, it probably will end up in the how many? I'm trying to think of how many movies I have now, but it's there's a part of my brain that's just going, stop it, stop buying shit, But but no, sooner or later it'll probably end up there. But yeah, it's a good solid 4.
All right.
So what did you? I was just since I wasn't here last time. What was yours?
I believe I was a 4 as well.
Okay. Other than that, that's basically all I've really got to say and add or anything like that, but
okay. I didn't say before. Should we do coming next time, which we've already recorded?
Well, didn't you tell everybody what?
No, I actually didn't.
Oh, you didn't tell everybody what I picked?
Yes.
Yeah. I love how we record these all ahead of time.
Sometimes we'll go a little out of order every now and then, but
well, that episode's already actually in the bag, and you say you're editing it now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I picked a little film from 1980 called Alligator.
So, yep. And maybe we should see if we can get Curtin on the episode.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he was here for that. So.
Yep, so that's what's coming next time.
But I already know what I'm picking for my next time. But I will leave that until we do the Midnight Meat Train.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that was
announced 2 episodes ahead.
Whoops, sorry. You can edit that out if you want.
Okay. No, I'm going to say you're predicting the future. We haven't actually recorded that one yet, so there.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, this is Clint.
And Wheels.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Well, hey there. There's a movie that's out in theaters right now, and it's been getting a lot of attention, and it is the season for it, so of course I got to talk about Halloween 2018, and I've been looking at a lot of reviews. Some people love it, some people are really nitpicking on it, and some people are analyzing it, and overall I thought I just had to weigh in with my thoughts on it. So here goes. Personally, I am one that did love it, and I'm going to start off with a controversial statement in that I think it was better than the original. Now, you can send your hate mail to omgclint@gmail.com, but again, I know, yes, the original is a classic, and it deserves all the respect in the world as it's the one that really kick-started the slasher genre. I'll be the first to admit it. But if you really take your nostalgia goggles off and go back and watch the performances in the original, some of them are a little cringeworthy. And Jamie Lee Curtis, she was just kind of there. There was nothing really groundbreaking about her performance. Again, it's a creepy movie. It's a tense movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie in any way, shape, or form. It is a classic. But Halloween 2018 just added so much more performance-wise to every character. It's a story about Laurie Strode and her daughter and her granddaughter, and I thought it was super well done. They spent a lot more time with character development in this one, and that to the point that I thought the movie had a lot of more weight to it. Now, if you're probably thinking, wow, if they spend so much time with character development, and, this movie almost could have worked as a drama about, Laurie Strode's daughter and granddaughter, and Laurie Strode is crazy grandma, and the movie could have worked as a drama, even without Michael Myers, but Michael Myers was in it. So if you're thinking there's so much, character development and things like that, there's probably not much of a body count. Wrong. I didn't keep count myself, but Lee saw it with me, and she said she counted 17, so that's triple the original. So the kills are there. If you're going just to see Michael Myers hack people up, the movie works on that level. If you're looking for something with a little more depth, it's got that as well. And one thing I really liked about it is that I didn't see this movie so much as a slasher movie, so more like a Western showdown in a way. I mean, it's a showdown between two iconic horror characters, and this showdown has been brewing for 40 years. To me, I thought that was pretty freaking epic, and there are some great tense moments. One of my favorites involves Laurie Strode's granddaughter being locked in the back of a police vehicle, but that's all I'm going to say about that. No spoilers here. And the cinematography was really good. There's so much to love, and they were callbacks, yes, and all that. But it was a fun movie. Listen, I don't know. Some people are looking for Oscar bait with this. No, but was it a good time? Yes, I had an awesome time watching this movie in theaters, and that's all I got to say about it. And as such, I'm giving it the full 5 hatchets on this one. So that's my review of Halloween 2018. I don't want to say too much about it other than go see it. It's the right time of the year. You just got to go see it, all right? And that's all I got for now, so... Joy!